Hello, everybody.
Hi, community.
How's everybody doing? I'm sharing this in the private community because it doesn't do that anymore. Okay, so I think we are live in both places, and I'm not hearing myself message back, so that's a good thing.
Yes. So are
Oh,
people still able to write in now?
yeah, everybody can write in. I don't know if we see all of them, but this is like Facebook's new settings or what have you. So it's all good though. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I had a weekend with not a lot of stuff. Like I literally like took some time off on Saturday, which was it's a good thing for me. I need to do it more often,
That
you
is a good.
know. And I'm not feeling guilty about not having done a whole lot.
Isn't it amazing the guilt that comes on when we're not overworking?
It's crazy town. It's
It's interesting.
so crazy
Even
town.
for me, just like napping during the day, which I know can be extremely beneficial, even
Yeah.
for my production at work.
Yeah.
I struggle with it and I have to work on that a lot because I'm like, rest is good. Rest is
Rest is
needed.
good. It's important. It's like we forget sometimes that we have to actually slow down in order to speed up, like to be more productive. If we're always walking around exhausted with brain fog, not feeling good, cranky, irritable, then we can't actually be productive. So sometimes, like, just stepping away from all of it is so powerful. I know
Agreed.
I've got to put it in my calendar more.
Yeah, that's
So,
good.
yeah, absolutely. So, for those of you who are watching, give us a shout out, say hello, let us know that you're here and watching so we can talk about the things that you want to talk about. Carissa, I did not realize until I planned a meeting for next Monday evening and was waiting for someone else to respond. And they're like, oh, it's Memorial Day. And I was like, oh, whoops, I didn't even realize.
The unofficial start of summer. Yes.
I know. So that's super exciting.
Hmm.
So I think we should talk a little bit about summer today since it is, I can't believe it's summer already, but since it's summer, like we should like dive in and figure out how to keep everyone healthy and safe and doing well during the summer.
Hmm.
Is that a good topic for today? Those of you who are watching, give us some questions there in the chat box because we love to make sure that we get things answered that are relevant to you, that you want to hear, that you want to learn about. That is why Lunch and Learn is here. And I guess we won't be here next week because it'll be Memorial Day.
Yeah.
So there we go. So let's get it all in today for sure. I know. So one of the things, Carissa, that I think comes up in a lot of sessions is people are concerned about like, how do they navigate all the barbecues and all the stuff that's going on in the summer and still maintain good, healthy habits? I mean, I think that's a big one, whether it be food, whether it be alcohol, whether it just be like too many social events on the calendar, not enough time, downtime. I think that's something that we need to certainly address. So, what are some of your thoughts? What are some of your thoughts on it?
Well, I certainly need downtime for myself. I personally will get overwhelmed if I have a lot of back to back things to go to.
Yes.
So I certainly don't have a problem with bowing out of some things just for my health and for my sanity. Not that I don't want to be there for everyone and for everything, but there are certain things that I just don't always go to. And I'm a huge fan of also bringing my own food to share with
Oh my
everyone.
gosh, yes.
That's something helpful that I do for myself, as well as, just staying super hydrated because you're out in the sun and you're out with a lot of people. So I think that's really important. And then you also mentioned the alcohol, which I think is a big thing for people because if, we don't partake, sometimes it can be uncomfortable. If we partake too much, it can get uncomfortable just for our health. Like we're not digesting right, we can't sleep right, like it just doesn't feel good by the time we get home.
Mhm.
um, so I always do like spritzers. Big fan of those. So that way you are reducing your alcohol intake, but you're still part of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes too, for some people, it's like they feel that peer pressure.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times what it's about is figuring out, well, what is it that you really want? Right. So if your commitment is not to have alcohol, then we live in this place where we feel like pressured to
Yes.
follow everybody else. And it's just a reminder that, what you decide for yourself, it's about being in integrity with yourself. It's not about doing things to please other people. It's about really what's your choice and standing firm in whatever your choice is.
Mhm.
Like, having seltzer with lemon or lime or something like
Yeah.
that. That's your choice. That's totally fine. So it's
And
funny.
nobody notices when you do the
I
self.
know. We think about peer pressure as the thing that only affects those like in junior high school and high school or college. And it's like, here we are as adults in our, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And that peer pressure thing, I hear it from clients all the time. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going here. And everybody wants to know why I'm not doing that or why I'm not doing that or why. But it really is about standing in what your commitment is to yourself, you know.
I think if you get real firm with how you feel about it, it's a lot easier because I
Mhm.
do find it very interesting. Like alcohol is mind altering and, being healthy. And yet those two things are widely criticized.
Yes.
It's really interesting, if you're not drinking alcohol, people want to know why. If you're eating healthier, people want to know why.
Yes.
It's very interesting to me. So if you get real solid in what you're doing, then I feel like your energy is a little bit different and you don't really care as much. Like you were just
I
saying,
know.
integrity.
Yeah. How about you guys who are watching? Give us a shout out, say hello, put it in the comment section, and tell us, how do you navigate all of your summer events and parties, the food, the alcohol, maybe just the calendar, saturation for some people is a really big deal. Oftentimes, I don't know, Carissa, I mean, we're working with the same clients. It is a lot of times I hear, well, my calendar is just so busy. I haven't had time for myself all summer. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second,
Yeah.
So what's that look like for everybody? Go ahead and put that in the comments and chat along with us. But I just want to go to what you said before as well. And that is that, making sure that like if you're going somewhere and you're worried about what you're going to eat, like bringing your food and bringing enough for everyone, I think is one really easy way around it. Because then you can select something that is going to take care of you, which is
Mhm.
important, you know. So oftentimes I'll bring like a big salad of some sort, and it doesn't have to be like lettuce salad. It could be like a quinoa salad or
Mhm.
something where everybody can enjoy it, or fresh fruit or fresh vegetables with fun kinds of dips and things like that are always good, easy options that people seem to always dive in for. How about
Yeah.
you?
It's so interesting when you don't tell people what the ingredients are. I mean, it happens to me all the time. They're like, this is delicious. I'm like, mm-hmm. But if I told you it was dairy free, you may not feel that way.
It's funny. The mind plays tricks on us. It's like you know, even with kids, right? Because it happens with kids all the time. Like if you don't tell them, then it's all fine and good. If you tell them,
Mhm.
you see it. But we're as adults, we're no different. That's the funny part. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. What are some of your go-tos that you like to take with you when you go places?
Just really what you said. Like I just do like the basic things like cut up fruit.
Yeah.
I'm a big, huge avocado dip. We love to make avocado
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and bring that and just like chopped up vegetables. We
Yes.
do bring like chips, but we get like the healthier ones.
Hmm.
Um, or even like a pasta salad. I'll do like a quinoa pasta salad, like use the quinoa pasta and
Yeah.
do that. And I love to make this lemon sauce with it, but it's made out of cashews.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I'll just throw some vegetables in it, and I serve it cold because you can serve that one cold. But those
Absolutely.
are usually like my go-tos. I tend to kind of gravitate towards the same things because I've perfected them.
Me too. Me
And
too.
you have a good outcome, so you're like, okay, I'll bring that again, and I can eat it just fine without feeling very bloated or like I need to take a nap.
We're creatures of habit. It's a good thing, but it's also a good time to explore new things for yourself as well. To test out new stuff. If you've got some extra time during the summer, I know a lot of you out there are teachers, and so there's more time to practice stuff during the summer or test new things out. But the other thing that I want to say, because you said, sometimes, and I bring chips, but I bring the healthier ones. You guys, there's always a spectrum, and I talk about the spectrum a lot. It's like there's almost like two arrows going in completely opposite directions, and it's like we can get things that are less and less healthy, and we can get things that are more and more healthy, and you just want to fall out, as far along on the healthy side as you can. And sometimes it means like, okay, well, that thing may not be the most perfect thing, but it works. So it's not like my family never eats chips, but you can bet, like, if we're gonna buy tortilla chips, because that's the one that we do rather than like potato chips. But if we do buy tortilla chips, they're not fantastic for your health, but sometimes the kids want them. We're gonna get organic, right? We're gonna get ones that don't have all sorts of added stuff to it, right? And then we're just gonna moderate the amount that we're eating and make sure that it's the ingredients are the best that we have the access and resources to. So we always have to remind ourselves too that rather than beating ourselves up, like, just upgrade, just continue to upgrade, do the best that you can with what you have and what fits.
Yeah, I use apps for that. Like when I'm at, they're so helpful. The apps, I'm scanning everything, and you'll be surprised. Even in the health food store, it's like, no, and
Yeah.
it's frustrating. But I use apps, and I follow people on social media that is always like, swap this for this.
Yeah.
So that's also very helpful.
What are your favorite apps? We should drop them in the chat here so people have apps. I mean, I want to talk about the environmental working group, but let's go through these first.
Yeah, so I use the environmental working group as one of the apps I used, and I also use Bobby Approved, and I follow him on Facebook too. I like his knowledge, and I trust his like nutrition choices. So he's not into seed oils or anything like that, and he goes around to different stores and shows you like what the best thing to get. So I use his app often.
Yeah, awesome. Let's talk about the environmental working group. I love the environmental working group for a lot of reasons. And you guys, I'll drop it, but it's ewg.org. So first of all, they do lots of third-party testing, which is awesome. So you're getting kind of an unbiased view. But what happens with the environmental working group is they're testing beauty care products, sunscreens, fruits and vegetables. So a lot of times people are like, well, do I always have to eat organic? And I got to tell you, sometimes when avocados are like $5 each, I'm not buying the organic avocados that are $5 each. Because avocados are really low on that Dirty Dozen list. So the environmental working group is really good for identifying those fruits and vegetables that have the least pesticide residue. Okay. So now nutritional value is a whole different story, but at least we're not, toxifying ourselves with the pesticides that are put on a lot of our produce, unfortunately. Right. So that's a good resource. They're Dirty Dozen and they're Clean 15 from the environmental working group. But they also have, as we're moving into summer, they also have a sunscreen database. So you can actually look up your sunscreens to identify and look for sunscreen that does not, contain a whole lot of chemicals. And so that's one that I would recommend anybody before you start putting on any kind of sunscreen is taking a look at their sunscreen database and identifying, is the sunscreen I'm planning to use something that doesn't contain harmful toxic chemicals that I'm going to put on my skin, and your skin being one of the largest organs in your body, right? Whatever you put on your skin does get absorbed. So you want to pay really, really careful attention to that. So do you use them? the environmental working group?
I use them, yes, especially I love them for like laundry detergent and dish soap.
Mhm.
I use them specifically for that. I don't really use sunscreen.
Yeah.
I like to limit my exposure or find the best times to get the UV rays because I find them to be very healthy. There's also food you can eat that will help your body build up
Yes.
against sun.
Yes.
So like tomatoes, carrots, sweet potatoes, there's lots of foods you can eat, which I find just so fascinating that we can do that.
Well, it's funny, because we look at the prevalence of vitamin D deficiency in our culture. And vitamin D, you guys, I mean, I'm sure those of you who are listening, you already know how important vitamin D is for your body and for your health. And yet we've got this fear of the sun that we are always covered up, slathered up. And so we're not getting a lot of that natural vitamin D. And I mean, on top of that, the truth is there are days that we probably don't go outside and see the sun at all.
Yeah.
And so that's a problem. So I'm with you. We actually don't use a lot of sunscreen in our household. It is, you guys, I don't want you to take this and hear me say, don't ever use sunscreen.
No.
And they can stand out in the major part of the day with the highest sun for 5 hours unprotected. That's not the
That's
same.
not healthy. Yeah.
If I'm out at the beach with the kids all day in the bright sun directly, well, that's a different story, right? You want to be really smart about it. But sunscreen less exposure to the sun is really important. And you said something that I think is pivotal too. It's also about the times of the days that you're outside. So sunrise and sunset, the actual light frequencies are so powerful for your body. I like to go out during sunrise. I don't always get out to sunset, but sunrise I have a lot more control over. But I like to get out there, be out there when the sun is rising. It's like that pinkish, like you can look at the sun without damaging your eyes at that time. It's actually really good for your pineal gland, right? And then get grounded, like connect to the earth, hands and feet connected to the earth. It is an amazing way, to start the day and so empowering.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that we all need to take into consideration because most people are walking around really afraid of the sun and we need it. We really need it.
We do. It builds up a lot of, your skin health, mood enhancement, your sleep wake cycle, your mitochondria, your serotonin, dopamine, melatonin. It's really fascinating because as a kid or even into my young adult life, I just thought vitamin D, but it does so much more than that. And vitamin D, like you said, is crucial for our health. So it's super important. And I too love a sunrise. That's the best time that I can get out. And I just find it very peaceful at that time.
It is peaceful at that time.
Yeah. No one's really up and the birds are chirping and I feel like I'm Snow White and I'm like, this is so much
I love that.
I love it.
I love that. Yeah. It is. It's a really energetically powerful time, just across the board. The other thing that you said I think is really important, and I want to highlight that too, is that our diet is really important to whether or not we burn in the sun.
Seed oils.
Yeah. So it's the seed oils, but it's also the nutrients. So if you're not getting enough phytonutrients, think about, eating the rainbow, right? If you're not getting enough of that, then that's like your body's natural protection. Like if we go all the way back before sunscreen was made, we as human beings, we lived outside with the sun and we weren't having all of these issues we have now. And so we've got to scratch our head and say, well, why is that happening? Right? And a lot of it comes down to our diet as well. So again, you guys, you want to be smart about your exposure, but we also don't want to live in fear. And I find a lot of people are really in fear of the sun. It's like this immediate slather when we don't often need to immediately slather. But again, if you're out at the beach and you're sitting in the high sun and you're there for hours and hours, then, check out the environmental working group and find something that is at least not, chemical based. Unfortunately, a lot of sunscreen stuff.
Or just, I like to bring an umbrella. to the beach with me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really important too. So just, moderating your exposure is what you're doing. Your direct exposure, having that direct exposure in the morning at sunrise and sunset. Those are the best times.
Definitely.
So, but speaking of food and nutrition, I think what I love about summer is we just have such great, fresh, healthy food. So making sure that we're eating as much of that fresh, healthy food as possible. Like I try to personally, like for me, I try to keep my diet as raw as possible during the summer, like eating a lot of salads, raw foods, fruits, all of those kind of things, because everything is like at the peak of its season.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, I find it really important to eat within the season and to give your body as much as you can in terms of those actual fresh nutrients from food.
Mm-hmm. It makes a difference. I find things even taste better. We love watermelon in our house. Even our dogs love watermelon. We give it to them. So, and I know watermelon season doesn't start till I think July to September, but once July hits, it's like a watermelon every week. So delicious. I'll even throw it in the blender and like juice it.
Yes.
It's so good. It makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
Very
the other thing too, so as we're talking about like all the social events and all of that stuff and desserts and those things are prevalent all over the summer. So one of the hacks, so to speak, that people want to be aware of is you can actually, so you can still have those sweet things, but moderate your blood glucose by making sure that you're eating like lots and lots of vegetables before you aim for the sweet stuff. Even the fruits. I know people like to make a lot of I love smoothies during the summer. I'm not a big smoothie person during the winter. But, a lot of our clients, they'll come in and you'll find out, okay, what's in your smoothie? And they're throwing banana and pineapple and they're starting their day with this big glycemic spike. And I think that happens even more so during the summer than it does during the winter. So just making sure that you're not starting your day with all of that high sugary stuff. So moderate it. Start your day with vegetables. Start your day. It's really the fiber that is the most important thing. So eating your fiber first, and then your proteins and your fats, and then have your sweeter stuff. Yes. Right? Instead of eating something desserty by itself in the middle of the afternoon, have it after you've had that fiber, and at least you're not going to have that crazy spike because it'll get filtered through that fiber.
Yeah.
So being strategic about your timing of stuff makes a really big difference too.
Huge difference. Yeah. I don't know when we ever lost that, because I feel like that used to be pretty prevalent, at least when I was a kid. My grandparents used to talk about it. I don't know where we lost it along the way. With
convenient foods and all, think about it. It's like you run out of time and then you're like, okay, what can I just grab? And a lot of times we don't have fresh stuff cut and prepared in the refrigerator ready to go, but there's, bars or what have you sitting in the closet that's a lot easier to grab and go. And that's where we get stuck. So having easy access to that healthy food is always really important, not just during the summer, but.
No, that's where meal prepping comes in, right? And I try to explain to people, it feels overwhelming, but it's really just like about an hour or so of your time, just to chop everything up, just to, make a big vat of something and then put it in the freezer and take it out during the week. It's really not as time consuming as people think that it is. Mm-hmm. And it for me, it saves me a lot of time when like I'm starving and I'm busy at work or I'm busy running around and I come home and I just want to eat now.
Yes.
I can grab something.
Yeah, I love the mason jar salads and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it makes it so easy, you guys, so that so if you don't know what a mason jar salad is or a mason jar, whatever. So you take a mason jar and you can like meal prep with it. So you put the stuff that's more liquidy at the bottom and then you layer your stuff up higher. So like your lettuce or whatever is on top. And then when you dump it out, it comes out the reverse direction. So it preserves stuff so that you can make it and it doesn't go bad fast. And then it comes out like just the perfect way that it should come out. So it can be a real time saver for sure.
Mason jars are awesome, by the way. I use them for everything, even to store my fruit. They work really well because, like, berries, if I just leave them, they're done in like a day or two. When I rinse them off, wash them, dry them, and put them in a mason jar, I'll get almost a week out of them.
That's awesome.
I
Yeah.
think that's amazing.
They're not molding themselves
No,
away.
and they're not like funky tasting. They're delicious.
Yeah. 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 Having a refrigerator filled with mason jars can be a good thing. And mason, they're so cheap. They're
Yeah.
so cheap. I
And
usually
they're
use them,
cute.
but I'm not using it right now, but I usually just use mason jars for cups.
Mhm.
You
I've
know,
done that too.
it's convenient, it's easy. And then you can store stuff so easily in them, like you said. So
Mhm.
I certainly like those. So, those of you who are in and watching us, go ahead and type in the chat box any questions or anything like that that you have that you want us to address. Let us know. We'll make sure that we got that included in here. Because again, we won't be here next week. Sorry, you guys, but it is Memorial Day. Totally forgot, but apparently it's a holiday. I think I still have clients booked on the schedule, so I've got to make sure that those people booked on my schedule are sure that it's a holiday too. I hope so. So all good. So all right, Miss Carissa, any other words of wisdom here as we sign out for the day? It was so good to see everybody, and those of you who are
Yes.
watching the replay, put your comments in the replay because we do monitor the comments and we will answer them for sure.
Yeah, just ask any questions you have. Summer is my favorite month. I personally love to get out there. I'm a huge outdoor person in the summer, beach goer, and that's really what I try to do all the time. And then just even do my social events around that because the beach and nature make me feel very peaceful. So, and then I'm getting my vitamin D out in the sun, eating fresh fruit because no one wants to eat a big meal at the beach.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and you know what? Getting grounded. There's no excuses not to be outside, getting connected to the earth. You know, this is the perfect time of the year to make sure we're doing that. I mean, yeah.
It's really a season to transform, you know what I mean? Like just we can really bloom in this season.
Yes.
And everything's not as overwhelming as we think it is.
Yeah, that's a hard one sometimes to get, you know.
Yeah.
It is time for us to sit back, relax, enjoy, take in the earth's, you know, the sun's rays, the earth's vibration, and just, you know, be connected to the outdoors like we're not usually during the winter. Not that we can't be. It's just a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm not a big fan of the cold, but working on it, you know, working on it. So. All right, everybody. It was good to see you. We look forward to seeing you. So we won't be here next week, but we will be here the following week after Memorial Day. Have a wonderful Memorial Day. Allow it to be a day too, where it's not just about barbecues, but it's also about reflection and gratitude. That's why we have Memorial Day.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Happy Memorial Day. Safe holiday.
Bye.